So here's a shot of my calcium reactor. I went ahead and installed it in this little movable cart that I bought from Harbor Freight. I added a piece of plywood and some foam, and I'm able to move it back and forth, left or right, to get to my storage cabinet over here. If I need to move something, or if I need to move something around in the tank, I'm able to just roll the whole calcium reactor with a CO2 cylinder and the secondary reactor area to bring the pH a little bit higher. This is a Reef Octopus. So as you can see, I am able to move the whole thing back and forth, the whole assembly, the whole setup, should I say. Went ahead and tried my best to organize the cables and the hoses and the tubing. The only one I left loose was a pH probe one, connected to the SLX. And then I have my Arctica chiller. It's also on the little cart. I'm able to move it if I have to get to my area over here. Here's the backup, or should I say the replenishment calcium media, and I'm just able to move everything back, and there it is. I followed the method that you see online on YouTube. Just a steady stream keeps my alkalinity and calcium right where I need them. Right now, as you can see, the solenoid is off. No bubbles. I went ahead and filled this bubble counter. This one is self-filling on the actual reactor itself, but I go by this one because this one, for every, I want to say 3 drops, this one is like 1 for every 3 drops, 1. So I think this one's more accurate because I could actually count the drops per minute. And here's the media that I'm using. I'm using the 2 little fishies calcium reactor media here, and I'm using the arm coarse media on this side, the little secondary reactor, to basically stabilize the pH a little, make it a little higher so it's not dripping very low pH on my tank. I'm in the process of actually assembling the replacement protein skimmer, because this skimmer is a little underrated, I believe, and I'm going into the process of actually switching sumps. So I'm gonna have an external protein skimmer. Both the skimmer and the Reef Octopus calcium reactor were purchased online at closeout prices, and I think there were steals. I believe, as far as the deals, they were real good deals. I couldn't pass on them, especially when you're jumping into the major leagues as far as calcium reactors and big old skimmers. My total volume is around 200 gallons. Here's the protein skimmer that I purchased at closeout prices also. As a matter of fact, they were so low that I had an issue with it, and I contacted Reef Octopus, and they didn't like the fact that I got it so cheap, so they didn't want to help me. But that's a different story. I got everything straightened out on my own, so it is ready to go. I've had it since last year, middle of the year, I believe. Just been holding out because there's been a lot of movements in my patio reef area. But now I'm ready to set it up. I'm gonna use some of the nasty skim made of that to actually seed this one. I've seen it on a couple videos. Suggestions. You grab some of that nasty skim made and you rub it around on the neck of the skimmer, and it'll actually seed it quicker, and it'll start performing quicker than normal. And here is the Reef Octopus Regal 250 EXT with the updated pump. The Reef Octopus Varios 6. The problem I had originally was a volute. I guess the seller swapped out the pump for some reason, and I had the incorrect volute. So I had to contact Reef Octopus, and since I sent my proof of purchase with the price on it, they didn't want to honor the warranty since I saved hundreds of dollars buying it at closeout price, because the place that I bought it from was going out of business. So they sold it at closeout prices, and apparently the company was not in agreement with that. So they were pissed off at the seller, and they decided not to help me and blamed it on the seller. So right now I'm just cycling it. I'm cleaning it. A little bit of water and some vinegar. It's getting all the assembly oils and whatnot off before I actually put some clean fresh water in it and run it with that. And then I'll use some old tank water. I'm gonna do a water change, run it with that, and then finally I'll connect it to my system and remove that one. So let me see if I could. I guess the camera will not justify it, but it's pretty big, very big actually. The camera just looks like a regular skimmer, but it's actually a pretty big size. Here's the controller. Like I said, I'm just running it right now just real quick to clean it. It's a DC pump, thank God, with their latest DC pump. And that's it. So I will make another video when it's up and running on my tank. One more thing, I actually purchased that float switch because it didn't come with it either. That's a shut off. When it overfills, instead of spilling out into my ground, into the floor, it's gonna shut off because it connects directly to the controller. I believe it's a 0 to 10 volt. Alrighty then. So I will make another video when it's up and running on my system, and I guess I'll do a review also. Excuse the dirty glass. This is kind of just in the middle of my work. I took a break and I'm taking video, so I haven't cleaned the glass. This is maybe, I want to say, a week's worth of algae buildup. And here is the new sump that I'm gonna install. It's new to me, but I actually purchased it on OfferUp at a steal, of course. $40 for this 48-inch by 18-inch sump. And I made this 2-layer or 2-story rack because I had 3 tables in here and my space is very limited. So I'm trying out these LEDs. They're not on right now because I switch them off when the T5s turn on. But since this tank is 24 by 48, or should I say 48 long by 24, it's a Lowboy by Aquamatic. No, not Aquamatic. I forgot the name, but it's a low boy. And I have the basic black box LEDs with the S box or SB Reef Lights LEDs, and I have the retrofit T5s, 2 Blue Plus and 2 Actinics. I'm following the process that I've seen on YouTube. I believe it's Jason Fox that loves using Actinics and cuts the full spectrum lights to very minimal. He loves T5s and LED T5s and headlights, but he's switching over to LEDs slowly. This is the softy tank. I'm in the process of moving this to a 40 breeder where it was originally. This low boy is meant for zoas and acros, might grow out, frags, and this is a very large green star polyps, neon green star polyp. It's actually all the way to the top. It's a big, I want to say 20-pound rock, if anything, full of GSP. And I peeled off some mats from the 40 breeder, mats of GSP that I'm gonna mount on rocks and trade them or sell them. Yellow polyps, I strongly recommend you do not get these. The yellow polyps are an invasive coral. They'll suffocate any other coral. They'll grow over your beautiful zoas and suffocate them from light. So I prefer the beautiful zoas and these yellow polyps. I got a big Montipora that grew out here. Originally it was in a 40 breeder with one SB Reef light, the basic, and this Montipora grew out of that. So it's safe to say that the Montiporas are very easy corals to grow and to keep. You can see I have some Euphyllias. I have this frog spawn right here. Back there I have some hammers, I believe, both purple and green. You can't see much because I have the power heads on right now, creating a turbulence in the top of the water to create or to stabilize the pH. I have reductors that I installed and I love now. I ordered 2 more. All my tanks are gonna have reductors. They do what they say they do. They maximize the water flow. I used to have just regular nozzles, but the reductors are working miracles. I believe I'm gonna get rid of this power head as far as the surface agitation, because some of my corals seem to close up when these power heads turn on. I have them 1 hour on, 1 hour off. As you can see, my glass is dirty. I haven't cleaned it. Here is this new sump. Has 7-inch sock cutouts. This is the new Miracle Mud that I'm gonna install here, or I'm gonna add here. I have Miracle Mud on the original sump, but I've never changed it in the 3 years.